Yes, as you mentioned, Sasha, Selena Gomez's documentary is on Apple TV Plus, and something funny about me is that if it's on Apple TV Plus, I'm simply never going to see it. I will not be paying for that platform. I don't know anyone who has it to share their account with me, so I will not perceive it. So I'm going based on like all of the think pieces and articles that have been happening this
We're
past
gonna get
week.
so much hate for this, and I get it.
Listen, if you're not happy about it because you watch a documentary and you have so many thoughts, then it sounds like you are an expert in the material and you don't need us. So feel free to skip ahead to the next story because we don't have the information. We have a lot of information, but we don't have the context of having watched it. And if that bothers you, kindly kick rocks. I don't care.
Oh my god, I can't. I can't. But yeah, I think this is really a lot came out of it, I will say. And a lot of stuff was covered, but it's really interesting because we get a lot from her. I feel like which we've, like I said, never gotten before. And it feels powerful because I've watched a bunch of interviews about this, and I've watched her talk about a lot of stuff as well. So it isn't like super, blind. It's just we haven't seen the full length.
Exactly. We've been
Yeah.
consuming the content. We're ready for discourse.
But yeah, so this is like filmed and directed by Alec Kirkasian. I hope I'm saying their name right. And again, we're getting a lot out of this, but I feel like there's also controversy because of what she said that's gonna come up. And
Yes.
Selena's mom herself even has admitted that she's not gonna watch the documentary to really avoid the pain of reliving, stuff that the documentary is gonna cover:
Mhm.
heartbreak, lupus, nervous breakdown, all of it. So and she, I guess, said this on Jay Shetty's podcast. So it's a lot, and I get it. So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, but
Yeah, and so I guess for anyone who
mhm.
is, like, very unaware, Selena Gomez has been on the scene forever. She was one of
Yes.
the children on Barney and Friends. Like, she has been, like, a child star moving up into adulthood, so I think we have seen a lot lately about what can happen to child stars as they grow. We talked about Jeanette McCurdy's memoir. We're gonna talk a little bit about Aaron Carter later. It is not a kind industry for children, and it's
Mhm.
more and more information is coming out that's not exactly like a safe place. So I don't find it surprising at all when we hear about these child stars growing up and they have all of this trauma and problems. And then on top of it, Selena Gomez also has like an autoimmune disease as
Yep.
well. She is dealing with a lot, and so I think that that needs to be said before we even get into the details.
Yeah, and it very much feels like she let in the cameras in really hard moments, which I think is pretty strong to do all of that.
Yeah, I think we think a lot about, these celeb documentaries, and the first one that comes to mind is always gonna be Taylor Swift, Miss Americana,
Oh,
and
yeah. Mhm.
it's a very we think of them as being very produced, very from the star. The star is presenting a message
Yeah.
of how they want to be perceived for a specific purpose. For example, in Miss Americana, Taylor Swift was showing, "I'm an activist now, and I'm going to get political," which, like, did not stand the test of time, but
Same with
that's
J-Lo, but yeah.
yeah, you're right. So true.
Yeah.
We even talked about JLo already on this pod. But yeah, so it's definitely can be that type of vibe, not like propaganda, but it's definitely from their camp, from their
Exactly.
publicist with their message. And everything I've seen about My Mind and Me is I'm sure there is that to an extent of like showing Selena in the best light possible, but it just feels more authentic than a lot of what
Mhm.
we've seen in this genre. And maybe it's because it's on Apple TV Plus. I don't know.
Yeah. Very much could be, okay? Very much could be. But basically, yeah, the documentary starts with footage from her final rehearsal before she's supposed to go on tour in 2016. So this has been in motion for a while. And, they're
Mhm.
trying to figure out costumes, sound, staging, et cetera, et cetera. And Selena just is visibly uncomfortable, and she's crying in her dressing room, and then she's talking about all the things that are going wrong and missing, parts, and missing marks, and her costume's in the way. And I watched the video, and she's basically like, well, I got in my head, and then I saw myself on screen, and then that didn't work, and that didn't work, and that didn't work. So she's just going through a lot, and that's like the first thing we see.
Yes. And it's just so hard,
Yeah.
literally. Um, and she really is crying, feeling like, oh, am I not good enough? Like, what's the problem? What's the situation? Because of course, as we said, like all of this in 2016 is happening during the Justin Bieber stuff. And
Exactly.
so if people don't know a lot about the Selena Gomez Justin Bieber timeline, let us know and we can do a deep dive on that on a future episode, because
Mhm.
there's too much there to get into it now, and we would
Yeah.
definitely need to make sure we researched it properly. But if people want to get into that, then that's what we can definitely do.
Mhm. Yeah, so while all of this is happening, right, and she's, in this mm, not horrible maybe, but in this situation with Justin Bieber and everything that's going on, unfortunately, in that relationship, she's even talking to the CEO and chairman of Interscope Records. Apparently, he'd called her that day to talk about a song with Justin Bieber. And, this causes her to cry even more. And she's like, when am I going to be good enough just by myself, and not needing anyone else to be associated
Oh
with,
my
which is
God.
whoo.
Heartbreaking, literally heartbreaking. Like, because I feel like a lot of Selena Gomez's private life, or I guess public life, from 2012, I think, when Wizards of Waverly Place ended and she
Yep.
left the Disney Channel, was it was all about her relationship with Justin. It was about her friendship with Taylor Swift. It was about her friendship with Demi Lovato. Like, it's really rare to see a headline about Selena Gomez and it's about her at all. Like,
Yeah.
it's always about her connection to someone else. Even a few weeks ago, we talked about how she was in pictures with Hailey Bieber. Like,
Mhm.
it's still happening, and I don't think that's really fair, because I do think Selena Gomez is talented, and I don't think she's been treated super fairly.
And we actually listen to her music too. It's not like she isn't part of, what we consume, TVs and music wise. But,
Mhm.
I think sometimes she gets stuck, and she talks about that in the documentary, as like maybe the wizard's girl, or,
Mhm.
and not really necessarily, everything else. So she talks about, also just being haunted by this past relationship, which again, we all know who that
Yes.
is.
Exactly.
And then there's a few big high level things where she opens up about her battle, unfortunately, with bipolar disorder. And she's telling her former assistant, which again, if this is a trigger for you, please fast forward,
Yes.
check the timestamps, and just says, the singer, I guess, Selena Gomez, came to her and tells her, I don't, want to be alive right now. And basically, this is actually what led to her team decide that the tour should be canceled. She'd already completed North America and Australia
Mhm.
legs of the tour, and then, so they canceled Europe and Latin America. And they even gave a statement to people, kind of sharing that it was mental health related, and which could be side effects of lupus, which she was diagnosed with in 2011.
Yes.
um so it's just, I remember when she canceled this tour, for saying like mental and physical health, and I was like, well, it's probably lupus related. But again, watching these videos, if it just felt like all of it. It
It
didn't feel like
feels
any one. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels so much more real and a lot more serious, because I think also, I specifically with lupus too, I feel like a lot of us think of, like, the TV show House and how it's like, "Oh, haha, it's
Exactly.
never lupus," but, like, it's a very real autoimmune disorder
Mhm.
that is very serious and obviously can have, like, very far-reaching concerns. And I do wanna say we've seen a lot in, like, 2018 to 2022 of acts, like, canceling tours due to mental health and being transparent about that. But I do feel like Selena was, I mean, probably not the first. I'm not a historian, so I'm not gonna claim that,
Mhm.
but I feel like doing this in 2011 is pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, with being open about mental health problems. And like we're still not all the way there. There's a long way to go, but doing this in 2011 is like quite not 20, no, 2016,
2016.
2016.
Yeah.
2011 is when she
She
got
was
lupus.
diagnosed.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're
Ugh,
fine.
dates are
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah, and then in
Yeah.
October 2018, she did, have a nervous breakdown due to actually, which they're saying, is low white blood cell count from complications of lupus. And this part, oh, it just breaks my heart because her mom only learned about it through TMZ.
Absolutely brutal.
Yeah,
And I do want to say as well, for anyone who is like interested in the gossipy side of things, the alleged side of things, Beyond the Blinds has an episode about Selena Gomez going through all of her blind items, and that can also provide further context to this. Obviously, can't say that blind items are 100% true or not true, but
exactly.
it can provide a little bit of context.
Yeah. And yeah, so and then, they speak about it in the documentary, and Selena, says like she was admitted to a mental health hospital where her and her mom and her friends say that she was unfortunately unrecognizable, which listen, mental health issues are real. And then she was released after she went through treatment. And then I guess now footage from 2019, viewers also see her in bed saying that she did something she's not proud of, which I think the blind items
Mhm.
maybe could shed more light on. And she shouldn't have talked to mom and stepdad the way she did, because again, just mental health stuff can make you
Yeah.
do
When
horrible
you're
stuff.
not doing your best, sometimes you do things that are not the best. And
Exactly.
I think that regardless of the extent, everyone has some sort of situation
Yes.
where they've said or done something when they were not mentally well. Even if you don't have a diagnosed mental health disorder, everyone has had
Mhm.
something like that, maybe not to the same extent. Um, we also see her talking a lot about how much physical pain she has from lupus, so it's not just the mental health concerns, and she talks about, like, she has to monitor her blood pressure because if it gets too high, she could have a stroke. She has really intense joint pain, and she has to get IV treatments for it, and we see her getting the treatment, and she says it's not always easy at first, but she's putting on a brave face so that if someone else is going through the same situation, that she could be more of an inspiration for them, which I think is really beautiful.
Yeah. And we also get to see her philanthropic side, which I don't know they knew that much about. Like,
Mhm.
I remember her lupus stuff and again, and her mental health, but not necessarily in the same way as they actually covered it all. And she really seems so happy doing this. And
Yes.
she's constantly talking about, I feel like I have a greater purpose in life, and all of this is, and apparently a friend, which I don't know if it's the same friend that we'll talk about in a second, who was kind of shady to her, because I
Mhm.
was watching the videos again, but basically says, I think you know what your calling is, but you don't always choose to walk in it. And then the friend and her kind of have this conversation about, what fuels you, gives you purpose, but maybe she doesn't always choose that, which I think is the thread of all of this.
100%. And, like, I had no idea that she raised money to build a school in Kenya. Like, I
Exactly.
feel like I've never heard that before.
Me either. I have no idea.
And, like, we saw her visiting the school that she raised the money for, and I was like, "What?
Mhm.
Excuse me?" Uh,
No idea. Like, absolutely none.
I had no clue.
And she also released a song, with the documentary, and then she said she's gonna, release new music hopefully next year as well. So that's also really exciting for all of
Yes.
us Selena Gomez
For
fans
the
that are really excited.
Selenators, that's us. We're
Oh,
so
yes.
excited.
Not me forgetting.
Yeah, how
Uh,
to wow, a fake Selenator.
super fake. Uh Yeah, and then we also get a little bit of family stuff where she feels like,
Mhm.
her family should have given up on her, which is no. Okay, if it that's not what family is.
Well, I think there's the thing though where when we all perceive what we do as worse than it is for the most part. Like
Yeah,
there's some examples, like exceptions, like narcissists or whatever, who think like they can do it wrong, whatever. But like in
of course.
general, people are always going to be way more critical of themselves than they are of anybody else and be like, yeah, no, they should have given up on me because I was just the worst. Like, but obviously she has a good family that does at least want to take care of her, whether they are always able to. I mean, she's an adult. You can't always be taking care
Yeah,
of her, right?
exactly. And this, I think, goes back to like her just being hypercritical of herself, her body, her, all of it. And, just not maybe feeling worthy of love with all of this, because she says, it was her mental illness that maybe made her, and stress and lupus and all of it kind of coming together. And she even says in one interview that she knows that she was awful to her family, friends, but she doesn't necessarily remember it all, but just
Mhm.
enough to say, like, I understand, if why they maybe
Yeah.
wouldn't have stood by me, but they did. And it's really beautiful that they were able to help her get through that.
Yeah, it seems like she is in a, like, really good place now, which I love to see. She also talks a lot about, having been a child star, lacking, real friends from a young
Mhm.
age. Like, talking about being in middle school, that she would eat alone, she was socially awkward, and it makes sense, right? Because if your job is acting, you're probably not having the same social interaction that the other kids your age are having, and
Yep.
then you maybe don't fit in. Makes
Yeah.
total sense.
Oof. It's just, and then, like, her all of that, right? Like, spurred a lot of drama, which we'll get into a little bit later, of this, like, lack of connections and
Mhm.
only feeling close to certain people, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
She said Taylor Swift was, like, one of her only real
I
friends.
and I have to say, how sad is that? Because Taylor Swift has not been able to keep, like, any friends in the industry, it seems like.
Yeah.
She still has her friends from before she was famous, it seems like, but
Mhm.
like, she tried having a bunch of girlfriends, it didn't work, and then you never really see, like, she doesn't have a girl gang anymore, so I feel like
No.
it's very weird, and maybe it comes from them both, like, growing up in a weird way that, like, Selena and Taylor just get each other, but wild.
Oof, oof, oof. And then she also, the Lose You to Love Me was written in 45 minutes, which is wild.
It's crazy.
And yeah, and it was like written as her coming out journey as someone who lives with, a mental health condition and is not afraid to necessarily admit that. And she, talked about her insecurities again creeping back up as she was relaunching all of this. And then the documentary covered the AMA's performance, including, unfortunately, her anxiety attacks ahead of it, insecurities about being off key, which, like, she's a great singer.
Yeah, but I mean, live music is very different from record honestly, here's the thing, I wouldn't care if everything was lip synced until the end of time in these live
Yeah.
performances, like, it would not matter to me one bit, like,
I just want to enjoy the song and see you. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's fine if you need to lip sync. Especially, a lot of these women have to dance and
Yes.
sing.
That's like, did you ever see when Pink, I think she performed at the VMAs and she did, like, the trapeze act while she was
Mm-mm.
performing? She is literally hanging upside down and belting at the top of her lungs, and it is the most impressive thing I have ever seen in my entire life, and it just, like, that's always what I think of when I think of, like, all these
Yeah.
performers, like, that have to go, 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 or if anyone has anything to say about Lizzo's health, she is dancing and playing the flute, so the whole freaking time, tell me that she's not healthy, like, shut
Yeah,
up.
I'm telling you, every Beyonce concert I've been to, I'm in awe because in heels and an uncomfortable outfit, how? I don't get it. I can't be bothered. And then
Never.
we do get something fun where when she goes, because they do a lot of like her going home and showing, connecting back to her roots. And I guess when she was home, she had a crush on Cole Sprouse. So, and we see that because it's like written somewhere.
So funny.
Yeah, I thought that was so cute, and
I
I
mean,
think
but
I would
also
like them
yeah, Cole
together.
Sprouse and Selena Gomez would be adorable together. I'm Googling to see
Right?
if there has to be pictures of them together.
Yeah, I feel like I would really like that to watch
It's
that
so funny
together.
right now because of it. When you Google Cole Sprouse, the first thing that autofills is Selena
Of
Gomez.
course.
Oh my god, not her, not this picture of her literally towering over him.
Oh no. Well, that's because he was young.
Whoa.
But anyway, is that our new ship, everyone? Question.
Honestly, I don't know what's Cole Sprouse's like current relationship status.
Well, he's not dating Lily anymore.
Actually, he's dating someone named Ari Fournier,
Oh, damn
who's
it.
a model.
Come on, Ari. Take one for the team.
Who's
You're a
this
model.
woman?
You'll
Oh,
find
she
people.
actually kind of looks like Lily Reinhart too.
Oh, okay. Selena
Oh,
Gomez
okay.
not his
So
type, is what you're
Cole
saying.
likes blondes. We get it.
Selena Gomez is not his type. Got it. Got it.
Hmm.
Well, Selena, we'll move on. We'll find another one.
Maybe
Don't worry.
Dylan. Maybe Dylan.
Dylan is like low-key married, I feel.
Oh,
Doesn't he
I
have like a super girlfriend? I
I
don't know.
actually also he has like really ugly hair now. Like
Yeah,
his hair's
Cole
like
is
really long and
definitely
like,
the more attractive one, even though they look the same.
but they've done things
Yeah,
to change, like to look different from each
that's true.
other.
That's true. That's
Oh yeah,
correct.
he is married since 28.
Okay, he is
Oh wait, no, not
married.
married. Okay, since 2018 has been in a relationship with Barbara
What a name. I like that.
something. Now it's gone. Googling Sprouse spouse is like it's hurting my
Oh,
brain.
that's fine.
They've been together since 2018 and they've lived together since 2021
Oh, okay. Got
in
it.
LA. So Barbara Palvin.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Oh, a
But yeah.
Hungarian model. Oh yeah, Selena Gomez is definitely more Dylan's type.
Mhm. Okay. Selena, they do look the same, so I don't mind. Oh, but they're both damn it. Just kidding. We're no home wreckers here. We don't do that.
Yeah.
And it ends. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff covered, but mental health advocacy is kind of where as her future is where it seems like it's ending. This documentary, not her career, because the disinterested reporter clip definitely went viral, and that's the first thing I
Mhm.
saw out of it all. And then I ended up going and looking at all these other clips. But
Yes.
a reporter was like, "What are you doing?" or something, and then she just explains like, "I want to do philanthropy, blah blah," and the reporter just like, "Thank you," and just leave.
So rude.
So weird.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, and again, this friend shows up and is like, "Oh, I told you what your calling was. You need to do this." And then it seems like she's really being put Selena is really being, pushed and to really focus on her philanthropy work. She apparently raised 100 million for
That's
free mental
wild.
health resources for young people. That's amazing.
Yes, that is amazing. Part of it as well is like we do know that Selena's philanthropy is through the We charity, which is a like Canadian controversy actually.
Oh, yes.
There's
Okay.
like there's so much to it with like We Day and the creator of the foundation, all of that. And I know
Oh.
I'm wondering if it's a patron episode. Tori on Ready to Be Petty, literally like 2 weeks ago, did a whole breakdown on all of the We Foundation controversies. Because the like main guy was like Craig Kielberger. I don't know if that's his last name. And he like raised all this money, but he also was doing all of these like big events with like celebrities and
Oh.
controversy with like the Canadian government. So it's interesting that Selena Gomez has like a light connection to all of that. But yeah, if you go listen to Ready to Be Petty, Tori has an episode about that. And if it's behind the paywall, then you'll just have to become a patron, babes.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Do it, okay? Ugh, but yeah, that's where, that's the update, the high level update
Mhm.
on it all.
Yes.
And now I think we can get into a little bit of like the controversies or like just the stuff that's come out of it. One was the reporter situation where it definitely, shows how toxic this paparazzi
Yes.
interviewer culture can be. I mean, I don't know if you watch Hot Ones, but every time someone goes on Hot Ones, every single celebrity is like, wow, these questions are really good. And maybe because like I work in nonprofit work and I do engagement for a living. I was like, this is so basic to ask people, but I guess
I
when you're in showbiz.
Well, I think it's also, like, because of their role in the entertainment industry, no one is
Yeah.
asking them those questions, and people are often not treating celebrities like people. I think that if you were like, I feel like if you meet someone famous and you're just chill and talk to them and treat them like a normal person, they would tell you anything because they're just like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, someone is treating me like I'm normal. Uh, let me do this." Um, yeah, 'cause, yeah, Hot Ones is pretty basic.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, I like his questions because I don't think anyone asks them that.
Mhm.
So
No,
that's why it's
it is
interesting.
entertaining,
Yeah.
no shade to Hot Ones.
No, no, but yeah, I agree with you. And then one thing I was seeing is before we get into the big one, obviously,
Yes.
is that folks are like Raquel Stevens, which is one of her friends, like one of her longtime best friends, just like is very blunt with her.
Mhm.
And folks, sorry. Why did I just hiccup? And folks, like, aren't sure how to feel about their situation because it feels like there are a few scenes, that this article actually on BuzzFeed nicely laid out
Mhm.
for me, but, it seems like there's one point where Raquel walks into a room and
Yes.
just, like, doesn't even acknowledge Selena's there.
She just walks right past and Selena's like, "Hi, Raquel."
Oh my god. And then while they're on that trip to Kenya, Raquel, says they're pushed her to be like, "This, is your calling. You need to talk more about it, but you're not ready, blah, blah, blah." And she also says, in a way, it just feels like you're escaping reality. Do you know what I mean? And they're just like, "Is it reality?" Is what Selena Gomez asks. And then she's like, "This isn't reality. Like, you're in Kenya."
Yeah, she's like,
Which
"This is
just
their reality," which I'm like, "Ma'am, shut up."
giving
What?
white savior. And maybe,
Mhm. A
it's
little. I mean,
messy.
listen, we're not doing a deep dive, we're not, like, super interrogating it, but being on a philanthropic trip to Kenya and being like, "Oh, this isn't reality, this is their reality," it's not a cool thing to say, just
Yeah.
on its face.
Exactly. And then it's like when, Selena's in London doing a press tour after Kenya,
Mhm.
and Raquel is, like, kind of low-key implying, that Selena's complaining because she doesn't wanna go to a birthday dinner the
Yeah.
night they get back to LA, and Selena's like, "Do you think I'm, like, complaining about my job? Like, what's going on?" And Raquel's like, "Yeah. Yeah, you were." So, it's just, like,
And
it's
Selena literally
messy.
is just like, "I'm not going to that because I have to shoot a music video, like,
Yeah.
the next day." I don't really think that's complaining, I think that's good time management because, it's probably miserable making a music video when you're, like, hungover and not feeling good and have been out late.
Yeah. So it's just a question mark we're leaving you with because it's not necessarily fair for us to decide where. Like I said, because she was there for a lot of pivotal moments for Selena, and it seems like was able to guide her through a lot of it as well. But I mean, a lot of people on Twitter are like, "Are you okay? Or like, what's
Well,
going on?"
but then some people are like, "Oh, wow, Raquel is the realist. She is a
Yeah.
deep and emotionally intelligent person." So, I mean, everyone can make their own minds up, but,
Hmm.
I it seems like they have a really good friendship that they talk about how it's based on forgiveness, vulnerability, all of
Yeah.
this stuff. If they're happy in their friendship, who am I to say a word? But I think that Raquel should maybe think about a little bit how she says things. I don't know.
A little bit, a little
Just
bit.
a little bit. Like I don't think that they need like a total overhaul or anything, but I think
No.
like it's just a little
Yeah,
off.
just let us know. Let us know what y'all think about
Yes.
them too, because it was interesting watching the videos and seeing their interactions. Oof.
Yes.
And now it's the big one.
This is the one everyone's been talking about all weekend.
Yeah.
I can't. I
So yeah. So for those that
yes.
don't know, Selena Gomez. Sorry, I don't know where I put an L. Gomez, had a best friend or a friend. I don't know. Question mark.
A
But had
close
a friend.
friend.
a close friend, thank you, in 2017 donate a kidney to her.
Mhm.
And they were, like, close friends for 10 years. Like, it's
Yeah, like,
not yeah.
Selena Gomez was about to die, and her friend donated a kidney so that she would not die. Like, she would not still be alive if she had not gotten a kidney when she did, is the way that I have always perceived it. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not 100%, I don't know. But she received a kidney transplant, and I'm so bad. I always want to, I can't tell if her name is Francia or Francia. Like,
Yeah, Francha,
I'm
maybe?
probably gonna go
Yeah.
back and forth
Sorry,
because I can
everyone.
never remember, and I
Yeah.
apologize for that in advance. But so, this has been like news for years anyways, because like Francia posts a lot about her kidney donation process and being a
Mhm.
kidney donor. Like, that is something that has become really important to her identity.
Yeah.
And she posts pictures with the scars and all of that. And she always posts on the anniversary of when she donated. And like this year, she posted a picture by herself, but like in previous years, she had posted a picture of her and Selena. So there's been eyebrows raised for at least a year about, oh, maybe all is not well in this friendship. So we're not really breaking new ground. It's just that now is when it's exploding to the front of
Yes.
everybody's timelines. I just want to be very clear. Pop culture people have been talking about this for some time, that all is not great between them.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because even just the way folks are speculating, right, of how it even came about to give the kidney. So it seems like Selena was talking about there is a wait list for 10 years long. And Francia said this on the Today Show. So basically, they're talking about this. And then she said that Selena was talking about the wait list and blah, blah. And Francia goes, "Well, it kinda just vomited out of me that, of course, I'll get tested to check if I'm a donor." And
Mhm.
Selena says, "Listen, I didn't wanna ask a single person in my life, like, that's a lot to ask someone to do it," but she volunteered and did
Mhm.
it. So, that is something, like, they've maybe established, and it felt like, Selena said, it felt, like, unbelievable that this turned out to be a match, et cetera, I most folks maybe have seen the picture of them,
Yeah. And
laying in bed.
And for people who don't know as well, Francia is a actress
Oh,
in
yeah.
her own right. She's on How I Met Your Father. She's on Grownish. She was on Bring It On, All or Nothing in
Mhm.
2006. I know that matters to people. She was on Blackish. She was in the movie Fired Up. She was on Secret Life of the American Teenager. Like, she's been in a lot of stuff. She's not A-list by any means. She does not really have name recognition. She might have face recognition depending on what
Yes.
you like to watch, but like, this is also like another actress in the industry, which will be important later on.
Yeah. So, yeah, and again, we've Selena has, wrote how she's so grateful, and how I can't possibly thank my friend, blah blah blah, all of this stuff. And then, she Francia talked about I'm sorry, I don't is it Francie? I don't know. Oh,
I think it's Francia.
Okay, sorry everyone.
I don't know. And listen, I'm
Please.
stupid, okay? So if I'm wrong,
Yeah, like
if the name is wrong, it's on me, and blame me for being stupid.
yeah. No, not at all. Please do not do that. I'll fight you. And she talks about how it's harder as the donor because we're losing something out of our body. So it's just so folks are like she's kind of not that she's hinted at that this is hard for her, but it's more that it was like was it a snowball, like a little pebble that turned into a snowball? And
Mhm.
maybe not that she's regretting it, but also maybe it was a lot for her.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a lot, and I've never donated an organ, so I can't really
Yeah.
speak to what that would be like, but I feel like it's the kind of thing where all I can think of is in the show Shameless. Frank
Mhm.
gets a kidney transplant, and he like meets the family of the boy that I think had died and his organs were donated, and they see that Frank Gallagher is just like an alcoholic, and it's like that's a very extreme example, but
Mhm.
the idea that like you're giving up part of your body and you have no say over how the person is going to treat it, I feel like even if it's perfect, like that's gonna I just feel like it would mess with your head a little bit,
Yeah.
just to think like, oh, that used to be mine, and now I have no say on what happens to it anymore.
Exactly. So, and again, check the blind items for why that might be mess.
Yeah, there's lots of blind items about Selena Gomez.
Yeah. So then, and it felt like they're like, we were all family in 2018. Okay. She was like, it felt like Selena was my family, all of this stuff. Like, now we're in it for life. All right. That's where, and I did watch a video where, again, we're not going to pass judgment, but I feel like I have to share it with y'all that there was a video of her, Francha, talking about on Self, I believe it is, but talking about her scar and say the way she found out she was a match was Selena called her, not the doctors. And she even notes that it was like very unconventional how I found out. Selena called me. So the question here is, and again, I no judgment, it's a question, is like, is there a pressure because the person that needs it called you?
Yeah, and I know, like, in Canada, if you're going to be an organ donor, there's, like, very strict requirements that the
Yeah.
donor and the recipient are not supposed to talk about the donation at all, just to make sure that everyone is having, like, the bodily autonomy that they're supposed to have, in that situation. So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
it's just it felt interesting because folks were like, well, that's another reason why this drama is maybe coming out. Because now, again, a documentary is out, and Selena makes actually a passing comment about how she never feels like she fit in with a cool group of girls that were celebrities. And
Yes.
she said, my only friend in the industry is Taylor Swift.
Ugh. Nah. Anyways, and so obviously, Bridget sees this.
Yeah, because she wasn't mentioned at all in the
And the entire
documentary.
documentary, which is wild because it spans the time from 2016. So you would think that it would include the kidney
Yeah.
transplant, you know? So it is very strange. And so Francia comments on the quote, which was posted on the E! News Instagram page, and just says, interesting, which has been
Mhm.
screenshot, but the comment was quickly deleted. However, she is now no longer following Selena Gomez on Instagram.
Yeah. Which again, you're like, okay, maybe it ends there. No. Because then Selena comments and says, sorry I didn't mention every person I know.
Which, like, fair enough. Fans are speculating that Selena means only the music
Yeah.
industry, not like the industry. And it is like, yeah, I mean, it's not worth having a big fight over something like semantics like that as well. But I mean, it does feel like a big shift when you go from like Selena accepting awards being like, oh wow, no, but Frances should be getting this award because she saved my life.
Yeah.
So it
So
is a shift, but
exactly.
also, like, can't people just talk in private? Why is everything happening on Instagram comments?
I don't understand. I don't. Because here's the thing, right? Who are we? Body autonomy also equals like we shouldn't tell Selena what to do, but it's just
100%.
it feels very messy because the one person that donated a kidney to you maybe elevates off of the list of every person I know. That's
Yeah,
all I mean.
I agree with that completely, and it's complicated, right? Because it's like, obviously the donation of a kidney is a massive thing, and Selena should always be grateful for that, but at the same time, you can't just hold that over someone's head forever as well,
Exactly.
like, "Oh, well, but I gave her a kidney, so I should be," like, that's also not fair, and it just feels like a really messy, like, friend
Yeah.
situation.
Big agree
Yeah.
with all of that. And yeah, and so that's basically why folks are, I think, pretty split on where it should be. But again, I was like, this is so sad because
Yeah.
they're connected for life. It doesn't matter why, but is it giving that they're not close friends anymore? And that's, I think, just unfortunate.
Yeah, it makes me sad. It makes me really sad. I hope they can work it out.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just ooh, I don't know. It just feels very messy because Francia even admitted that she was angry when she called her social worker about the news, and people criticized the doctors for telling Selena first. So it's just it felt like from the start
Yeah, I think
there
it's
was a
one of
lot.
those, like, the straw that breaks the camel's back situations, right? It's not like one comment is ever gonna cause this much of an
No,
issue.
because yeah, and then I think a year after the transplant, folks were reporting, right, that Francia was mad that Selena was making unhealthy choices, which is also messy because again, it's like it's not yours anymore. You give a gift
You
without
donated it.
asking.
It's
Yeah, and then it's allegedly in 2019, it was like Selena was fed up with being in debt to her friend. So it
Mhm.
seems like there's a lot on all sides for this.
I think is a therapy. Like, I think they need to go to
Yes.
therapy together to, like, figure things out and set healthy boundaries and move forward. Or not move
Mhm.
forward, but I think they need therapy together.
Yeah, and I think even in December, of 2019, I believe, Selena even called her the girl who gave me the kidney.
Not the
Yeah,
girl. "Hey, enough.
I
That
know.
it's too
But
much."
listen, up as of 4 months ago, they were on TikTok together.
I'm sure I feel like these are the types of friendships that come in waves. Like, when you're close enough
Yeah.
with someone that you're literally giving them a kidney, it's a type of thing that's gonna ebb and flow.
Yeah, and it's hard. I feel like friendships as you grow up are hard because you're
Mhm.
growing up, you're in different seasons of your life, and it's just I get it. I sometimes they're just hard, and if you don't try really hard, like I say this because I'm far away from all my friends,
Mhm.
that it feel not all my college friends that I'm close to,
Yeah,
or
wow, you're about to have a Selena Gomez
look at
moment.
me. All my friends. Oh, no. But, and I have close friends here, but, it's just it's so different when that closeness of, like, being the same sorority and in college together and, you just know all the dirt on
Yeah.
each other. It's different. So, yeah, so I understand why those relationships ebb and flow because you're bonded for life, but also you're changing as people.
Yes,
So,
100%.
that's
It's tough.
that's your tea, y'all. That was a lot.
That's the headline. That's our main story
Mhm.
of the day.